Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Before we jump into this topic, I do want to give a disclaimer that this is already a hard topic to talk about. It's kind of controversial or whatever, but y'all know on here I'm pretty transparent. I try to, be really honest with you and tackle the hard things. But I do want to say, like, be kind in the comments. This is not easy for me to talk about. And also, I do want to say this is not a working mom versus stay-at-home mom debate. Like, I'm just not here for that. I've worked since I was like 13 years old. I love working, and even though I'm not going to be going to work in the traditional sense, I'll still be working here in the house. I'll be doing these YouTube videos and also running my nonprofit. So this is not that debate. This is more of like how I was working and what that looked like and kind of some of the things that made me regret spending that time doing that. And the only way that I knew how to like keep this kind of organized is to make a list. So if I'm looking to the side, I'm just looking at some of the notes from the list. So I'm gonna go through this list, and then at the end it's gonna be like kind of like the biggest thing that really hit home for me and why I decided, okay, this isn't for me. Like, we gotta make a change. So number one, I was so tired, y'all. Like, so tired because you're ripping and running all the time. And I remember, especially when I was pregnant, I remember just being like tired to the point where I would wake up and I would be sore. Like, my body would be sore. Like I would get up 4:45 in the morning and I would just sit up in bed and just be tired. I would lay in the bed dead tired and just like go to sleep, or I would come in, sit down, and just fall asleep. Like, I was so tired to the point where now, like, whenever I work out or something and I'm sore or whatever the next day, or say I had to be up, like I have a newer baby now and I had to be up throughout the night, my mind, when my body feels that way, my mind goes back to that time. So it's like low-key PTSD type stuff. So I was so tired. I even remember one time me and my husband, we were like in the car and we had drove home from church and the kids were in the back, and we like parked and we're like, okay, usually we're like, okay, brace ourselves. Okay, get out, get the kids, get the stuff. Well, at the time we had one. And so we parked the car and we just sat there for like 10 minutes. I was like, this is bad. He's like, yeah, this is bad. Like, we were so tired. But yeah, number two, I exchanged money for convenience. So the whole point of me going to work was like, okay, I'm gonna go to work, we're gonna make some extra money and quickly pay off our debt. But like, as you working mamas know that work outside the home, or even shoot, whatever, you know that like you get to a certain point where you're so busy that you're like, okay, yeah, we'll buy this because it's easier, or you miss all 5 of those bills because you're busy. So then you have extra payments that you have to pay, and then you have, you're eating out more and you're doing this, and it's like the money that you're using for convenience is adding up. So I'm like, how much money am I really making, at the end of the day? Number 3, my house was a mess. So I know, like, some people, they're like, oh, you're a mom, give yourself some grace, like, it's not that big of a deal. And I get it, right? Like, you can't be stressed out. You're not gonna, your corners aren't gonna be dusted or whatever. But there's so many studies out there, like, connected to like clutter and anxiety and just things being out of order and how you treat the people around you. And that is me to the T. Like, I'm not a clean freak. I'm not gonna go to your house and be like, oh, you're not clean. But for me, I just like to wake up, have a clean kitchen. Like, I like that. And I just couldn't do that when I was working. I couldn't do it. And my husband couldn't do it either. We just could not do it. And laundry for days, like, y'all get it. But that took a toll on me. Number 4, I neglected my health. Things like walking, going to the gym, like mental health, self-care, all that stuff is so important to me. And like, I couldn't do it as much as I would have liked to when I was working. So yeah, that's pretty simple. Number 5, I neglected my spiritual life. I know, like, people are like, oh, get up early, have a quiet time. I'm already waking up at 4:45 a.m. I don't know that I could have woken up any earlier to spend time. I don't know. Maybe I could have. I was tired. I don't know that I could. And so then I would jump in the car. I wake up, boom, boom, in the car on my way. One thing I did start incorporating, this is a tip for you mamas who are working outside the house and have a commute. I was like, well, if I can't get in my word, then I'm just going to saturate the rest of my day with worship and constantly keep my spirit connected to God. And so that did help when I started doing that. But for a while, for a while, I was just like, I can't do this. Like, I'm not reading my Bible. I don't remember the last time I read my Bible. Like, it was bad. And I didn't like that. Like, I feel like there was never enough quiet time for me to hear the nudging of the Holy Spirit. Like, if he was like, if like there was something that God was trying to tell me, I was moving too fast to even stop and think about that. Number 6, I wasn't doing anything well. So, and that's hard for me. And I know for a lot of moms that's just part of being a mom, right? You're giving A, effort for C, results. And everything you do. I'm talking if you're working in the house, stay at home, work from home, whatever. Like, that's just kind of part of having young kids. But like, this was like magnified. Like, I'm at work. When I'm at work, I'm pumping. I'm, getting texts that my baby's sick, or I can't stay late to work on a project, but my coworkers have to stay late to make sure it gets done right. And then when I'm at home, I can't lay on the floor and play games. Why? Because it's 9 p.m. Mama's got to get stuff ready so she can get up and go to work. So when I was at work, I was thinking about home. When I was at home, I was preparing to go to work. It was like bam, bam, bam. And I was not excelling at anything. And that was really hard to swallow. Number 7, I wasn't doing anything that I'm passionate about. I love YouTube. I love blogging. I love the communities that come with both and connecting with them. I love volunteering. I love serving in my church. There was no time for that. When I was working full time and commuting like that, there was no time for that. And that took a piece from me. Like, that's a lot of who I am and like what I enjoy to do. And that would like, it kind of just threw things off. Like, that hurt. That was really hard. And so when I was working full time, I couldn't do that. And now that I'm working from home and working part time on things I'm passionate about, I can do that. And I even sense already like how that's been making me feel and my emotions. It makes me feel more like, it makes me feel better, more like myself. Let's see, number 8. I missed an entire year with my daughter, y'all. It's kind of embarrassing to say, but from the time, my first daughter, from the time she was 1 to the time she was 2, I don't even remember what happened. And I remember one day I had fixed her dinner, like I brought her home, and I fixed her dinner and I set it down, and she was eating. She had through her like 10th fit for the day from the time I picked her up from childcare to the time she got home. And she was sitting there eating and just like everything was terrible. She was throwing, so I was like, oh my gosh, yes. And I know that's that age, right, where they're doing that, but something was off. And then I watched her, for a little longer, a few weeks. And I told my husband, I was like, we have got to do something. She is not, I was like, someone has to be here to parent her. I was like, we've got to teach her how to process her emotions, how to respond to things, how, to have a loving, kind heart. Like, because obviously that was not happening at childcare. And so that really hit me hard. I was just like, like, we've got to do something about this. And it felt like I was living with a foreign child. Like I don't know this child. And so, and then I thought about it, I was like, of course you don't know her because you're just the person, and excuse me when I say this, but this is how I was talking to myself. This might not be your situation if you're a working mom, but for me, I was just the person that picked her up out of the bed. No, not even. I didn't even wake her up in the morning because my husband had to do that because I had to be at work. I was just the person that put her in bed at night. That's it. I was the one that picked her up from daycare, said hi, hugged, and put her in bed at night. And that's it. And so that was hard for me. I personally was not okay with that. Some people are okay with that. They know that they're doing the best they can. They're prepared. They're like providing a future for their kid. That helps them sleep at night. That did not help me. I felt like a big responsibility that God has given me is to disciple my babies and to raise them up in the way that He wants me to raise them up. And I could not do that because I saw them for a whole, 3 hours a week. That didn't work. And the last point that I want to make is being a working mom put a strain on my marriage. And this is where I was saying this is the number one thing that made us realize we've got to make a change and we've got to make a move. And this is hard to talk about, right? And I'm being transparent with y'all. And I know some people are like, oh, you know, you don't need to put business out there. But I'm doing this because nobody told me. Well, no. Wise women of God did tell me when I started seeking. They were very transparent with me. But yes, so my husband is my best friend. He is my best friend. I always tell people he is like my greatest gift, earthly gift here. And so when I was working, this is what happened. So I was in the car either with my mom or my dad. I don't know. One of them. I don't even remember. I just remember the moment. And they asked me something really simple. They were just like, hey, how was Myers' game? You know, like, did they get the win, or did they get over something very simple. And I was like, I don't know the answer to that. And I was like, my parents are so good. They were just like, they could see that was hard for me. And I was like, I do not have the answer for that. And for some of y'all watching, you're like, that's not a big deal. But for me, I pride myself on knowing people deeply, like people that I love, knowing them deeply. So not just knowing their favorite color or just the basics. How was work? Oh, good. No, that's not enough for me. Like, and so for me to not know that basic answer, I was like, where has my head been? Like, what have I been doing? Like, wow, like that to me was just a moment. So then I go home and I like, anytime like I figure, like the Lord laid something on my heart, and I just watch for a little bit. And I realized we had become two passing ships in our house. And I had developed the schedule to a T. So my husband was going with the schedule because he had no choice, because that helped him. It wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna listen to Della, like this is how it's gonna work. But it helped him because, y'all, his schedule is crazy. But we were both just kind of doing the schedule and going through the motions. And it was like we had become roommates. And that was hard. Like, I get home. When you get home from work, you're emotionally tired, physically tired. You can't connect with your husband emotionally, physically. Like, that's important. And it was just hard. And I realized, like, my husband, I haven't been asking him about his day. He hasn't been asking me about my day. We didn't even know. And so that was just really hard. So I called, you always need like godly women that you can trust. So I called one of my mentors, and I was talking to her, and she was like, Dila, she calls me Dila. She's like, Dila, she was like, it's too much. She was like, it is too much. You're working, you're coming home, and then your husband needs you and you can't be there for them. And just really listening to that wisdom and realizing, and just talking to my husband, asking him where we were in our marriage, and just hearing his heart. And I was just like, we've got to make a change. Like, I mean, there's like a study out there that shows that like when you put a couple together at dinner, the conversation's kind of bland. There's not really much going on. But when you put in their coworkers, then it's like a rich conversation, because those are the people that they spend their time with. And me and my husband never wanted that. We never wanted a normal American whatever marriage. We didn't want that. And we realized quickly, like, that was the road that we were going down. So we realized we need to make a change. And I asked him what he needed from me. And he was like, I need you to just focus on our family and then doing the work that you're passionate about. And so for me, that was just like the moment where I was like, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. And we're still repairing from that season in full transparency. But things are so much better, like so much better. And for me, that's worth it. So yeah. These are just a few points of why I regret being a working mom, the way that I worked. So if you're a working mom, I will say, and this is just your season, that's the situation that you have to be in. Like, if you're a working mom, you can be working and your heart still be at home. You can say, you know what, I'm working, but my heart is at home, so I'm passing up, promotions or whatever. There's ways to do it. this is just my reflection, and hopefully it helps you if you're trying to make a decision. Leave some comments below. Let me know like what helped you make your decision, or if you can kind of relate to any of these. And then after this, I will start like another series. And one thing I will do is talk about kind of like confirmation that we made the right decision. It's funny, like when we obeyed God, he then started to confirm like, yes, like you're going in the direction that I want you to go in. So I love y'all. Can't wait to hear from you in the comments. See you later. Bye.